CNN seems pretty excited. Wolf Blitzer almost jumping out of his chair, has a real thrill up his leg, it seems. But they are telling us that a key player in the Trump prosecutions are flipping. CNN is getting all sorts of leaks on this. They're saying not only is a classified documents witness changing sides, going to be working literally with Jack Smith to execute a non-prosecution agreement in exchange for testimony, we've also got stories that Jack Smith is going to be leading another indictment. And so we are going to go through these stories and see what Washington D.C. has to say about Trump. If 64% of the people say he's already guilty, how could this ever possibly be a trial of his peers? Obviously not. But this is Wolf, and I got to admit, I don't watch a lot of Wolf, so it's hard for me to catch the cadence and the tonality and the voice. But he seems pretty excited to deliver this breaking news.
Details coming out of this very historic first televised hearing in the Georgia election case, but we also have breaking news in the federal classified documents case down in Florida. One of the key players has just flipped against former President Trump and is now cooperating with the special counsel Jack Smith's office. That, according to the former defense attorney for Mar-a-Lago IT worker Yusel Taveras, who says Taveras has agreed to testify in the case, and in exchange, he will not be prosecuted. Both Taveras and Carlos de la Vieira, the club's property manager, were initially suspected of giving false testimony after denying allegations that they tried to erase incriminating security camera footage.
All right, they'll flip this IT worker, Taveras, and they're going to say, we won't prosecute you, but you've got to testify against these other guys. And that's, of course, always fun, because the defense is always saying, well, what did they promise you in order to get you to plead guilty? And a lot of that stuff will come out in trials, as we saw in the Proud Boys trial. So you see, this is going to be the tactic, and I think that largely this is why Big Fannie Willis, the biggest Fannie out of Fulton County and Georgia, why she indicted 19 people. She wants to start getting people to flip so that their testimony can be useful in other prosecutions. But here's more on the story from CNN. They say that the IT worker struck a cooperation agreement with the special counsel. They're dropping this one. They say that the worker's name is called Yusel Taveras. We have a question. What does he know? What does this IT worker do? What is his scope of his work? What does he have access to? Apparently, he struck an agreement, a cooperation agreement, so that they will not prosecute him. He will testify as a witness with the special counsel's office. This is according to his former defense attorney, who said that in a new filing. Okay, so it's like the defense attorney withdrew, said we're done. They're working with the government. Taveras struck a deal with the prosecutors after he was threatened with prosecution, says Stanley Woodward. Taveras is referred to in the filing in the superseding indictment that we read through called Trump Employee 4. According to the terms of the deal, Taveras agreed to testify in the classified documents case in exchange for non-prosecution. He's not been charged, but they're threatening him. We need your testimony or else. And they did the same thing with Nauta. They actually, according to the defense, they actually threatened Nauta's lawyer, Woodward. The filing marks the first public acknowledgement that special counsel Jack Smith has got the cooperation of what they say is a key witness. And again, I don't really know what he saw or what he goes to. Let's see what they tell us. As part of his prosecution of Trump, the longtime valet and the property manager. Prosecutors have argued that Woodward, who represents Nauta, could face conflicts of interest, so they want to go after the attorneys too, get the attorneys off the case. Woodward wrote in a filing that he played no role in Taveras' cooperation and said that prosecutors did not offer Taveras cooperation until Taveras got a different lawyer. He asked the judge to block him from testifying in any eventual trial. His testimony in front of a grand jury, which wasn't public, was the source of new allegations against Trump that were included in the superseding indictment. And this was about the deletion of some video footage. Those allegations including the deletion of the incriminating footage at Mar-a-Lago. So they've all pled not guilty, and it's the IT worker. So he's flipping over, don't know what he's going to say or what he's going to testify to. But obviously, don't you think he might be a little bit biased? Is his credibility really that good if he's now just being threatened by the government and he just starts talking, singing like a canary? Well, it's him who turned. Are other co-defendants going to turn? Politico says other co-defendants are already starting to turn. This is a photograph from one of the court proceedings. They say as his 4 criminal cases move forward, some of his aides, allies, and co-defendants are pointing at the former president. And again, sometimes I think some of these articles are just, kind of excitement, pleasure reading for some people on this, other side. But that's okay, I think, in many of these things. Because you know what? He's the former president. Yeah, he's got like root power. He's got the max power that our Constitution affords anybody. Maximum level. Good. That means he's got defenses more so than anybody. So why wouldn't they point at him to say, well, he said do this or move this, or we did it under his authority, which is lawful. In court documents and hearings, lawyers for people in Trump's Trump's orbit, both high-level advisors and lesser-known associates are starting to reveal glimmers, they say, of a tried-and-true strategy in cases with many defendants. Portray yourself as a hapless pawn. And this is absolutely true. Everybody points their finger at each other. And you might say this is why some people want a speedy trial now, right? Sidney Powell wants to go to get her side of the story out of the way first before everybody else goes first, and she's last off the bus and everybody's pointing the finger at her. So they say every defendant is going to be for himself, which I think is probably true. Cohen broke with Trump years ago, and so we see if they're going to continue to flip, but that's what they're telling us over at Politico. And we also know that there may be another indictment. CNN, again, got the exclusive on this. It's weird how there's protective orders for Trump. You know, if Trump even takes notes about the case and takes those notes back to him, and there's the wrong word in there or something, okay, he's in violation of a court order. Boom, protective order. Prosecute him again. But the special counsel's office, for whatever reason, can just leak like a sieve over to CNN and everybody else. So here's their exclusive. Special counsel is focusing on fundraising and the voting systems. Says that Jack Smith is pursuing his investigation, widening the probe, raises the possibility that others could also face legal peril. Questions asked of two recent witnesses indicate that Smith is now focused on how money was raised off of the baseless, they say, claims of voter fraud. It's always amazing how they say this. Off baseless. Like, why do they have to say baseless? How much money was raised off of claims of voter fraud? They say it's baseless claims. It's just like when everybody tells us about Ukraine that it was unprovoked. You know, the Russians, they had an unprovoked illegal invasion. Unprovoked, unprovoked, unprovoked. Just like here, it's baseless, it's baseless, it's baseless. Really? If it is baseless, people just think that. You don't need to tell them that. You don't need to keep reprogramming that into their brain. Baseless claims of voter fraud, which means they're all there. And we also followed this. They kept moving the goalposts on this. First of all, there was no voter fraud. Then there was some voter fraud, but it wasn't widespread. Then it was, okay, yeah, maybe it was widespread, but it wasn't enough to change the outcome. So here, several states looking into how they raised money according to multiple people familiar with the ongoing investigation. Again, all leaking. In both interviews, prosecutors have focused their questions on the role of Trump's lawyer, Sidney Powell. According to invoices obtained by CNN, Powell's nonprofit, Defending the Republic, hired forensic firms that ultimately accessed voting equipment in 4 swing states: Georgia, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Arizona. Powell faces criminal charges in Georgia, and today her motion to sever from the other cases was denied. They allege that Powell helped coordinate and fund a multi-state ploy. She's already pleaded not guilty. She's been identified as one of Trump's unindicted co-conspirators in the federal election indictment, so maybe Sidney Powell gets hit again. New details about Smith's ongoing investigation indicate federal prosecutors are scrutinizing a series of voting machines following 2020 that state investigators have been probing for more than a year. Exactly how this inquiry fits into Jack Smith's investigation is ongoing, and the special counsel's office declined to comment. So don't see much there. Powell promoted the organization as a nonprofit, raised a bunch of money, but according to documents and witness testimony, the group was used to fund a desperate search to back up, there it is again, baseless claims. Again, baseless. Do they need to keep saying that all the time, CNN? A series of invoices and communications obtained by the election integrity groups say that Defending the Republic contributed millions of dollars to push to access the voting equipment. She denied involvement in the breach, but acknowledged that another forensics firms did go in and investigate. So again, they tell us it's all conspiracy theories, which means it's mostly true. But that's CNN, and it is true that it sounds like another indictment is coming. They're continuing to investigate it. They're not just going to investigate it and not do anything with it. So if these people are flipping and the probe is expanding, they're going to bring another set of charges, and it's probably going to come right after there's some bad news for Hunter Biden. So as soon as Hunter Biden gets indicted, when that is coming, and we'll talk about that soon, they'll just drop this one right after it. So Hunter will get indicted, boom, Trump gets another indictment. We'll see that one play out, no doubt. But is this fair at all? Is Donald Trump, when he's prosecuted and scheduled for a trial, is he going to be in front of a jury of his peers? Well, of course not. It would be in Washington, D.C. and Emerson College polling. They just did a survey over on what the jurors and the makeup would look like in Washington, D.C., and it's pretty outstanding. It says here, an Emerson College polling survey asked D.C. residents if they would vote to find the former President Trump guilty in the trial over Trump's efforts to subvert the results of the election. A majority, 64% of the residents, would vote to find Trump guilty. 64%, 2/3. While 8% would find him innocent, with 28% unsure. All right? Those are the numbers, okay? Which is why they're so excited about this, and which is why Judge Chutkan's like, whatever, man, I don't care. March, whatever. What are you going to do about it? You're going to get obliterated, and it's going to be pushed us all past the election until any appeals come back down, and that's it. You're going to be a convicted felon, and we're going to use that to try to get you off the ballot. So the whole game plan's already there, and they know 2/3 2/3 of DC are just going to go that route. Now, I want to pause on this for a minute. Like, if this happened in a courtroom, and I have actually seen this happen in a courtroom, a judge will take a full jury panel, and they'll all be sitting there, a bunch of, everyday people, and the lawyers are on the other side, and the judge will say, all right, ladies and gentlemen, all right, you're here today, and obviously we're here with Mr. Defendant so-and-so. How many of you people, and I've seen this happen, how many people here think automatically that that man is guilty of the crimes? And you'll actually sometimes surprisingly get a hand or two. You'll get somebody who just says, I think so, and you'll say, why? And you'll say, well, cops say he did it. My brother was killed in a DUI, and I just think that cops are right, and I think that that's right. And he says, okay, all right. Not going to be able to save you. You think he's already guilty. You're excused, right? This is kind of a fast way to do it. Then he'll say, how many people are not sure about whether this person is innocent or guilty? How many people are just not sure? And you'll get a big group of people because everybody thinks that's the right answer. Yeah, you're right. We haven't heard anything yet, so I'm not sure, right? Everybody raises their hand. But that's not the right answer, okay? The right answer is he's actually innocent at this moment, right? It's called the presumption of innocence. He is innocent at that moment. But the jurors don't get it, right? He hasn't been convicted of anything. He's entered a plea of not guilty. So he's standing there and everybody says, yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't heard the evidence. The judge instructs them. That's the wrong answer, everybody. And then they learn, oh, I get it, right? I get it. And so even this poll is a little bit, right? Even these people like unsure, like the correct legal answer is all of these people, Trump is at this moment 100% innocent, 100%. He's only been accused. He hasn't been convicted of anything. But 64% of the people would already convict him. 28%, if that was also in the courtroom, would be, kind of in the wrong category, being unsure. And 8% at this moment would say he's innocent right now. And I know this question's asking after the fact, but right, that's really the only percentage of people that are right at this current moment. Now, I know this question is asking post-trial, like if we had sat through the trial, what would we do? But my point is, these numbers are very, very bad. It's like we're unsure. My next question on the poll would be, what if they said, yeah, you have to rewrite the question. But anyway, so the numbers are bad. 64% say Trump is already guilty without hearing a shred of evidence. The director of college polling said perception of Trump's guilt varies by gender. 75% of women say Trump's just guilty. Nice. 75%. 54% of men. Men are more likely to find the former president innocent, 12% to 4% to women. So it's a female Democrat problem there in DC. Democrat voters also find Trump guilty, 69 to 5%. Independents share a similar attitude, 53% guilty to 14%. Republicans are split. 36 say he's guilty, 35% say innocent, 30 unsure. Regardless of their own opinion, 57% expect the jury to find him guilty, which I think is true. 10% expect the jury to find Trump innocent, a third are unsure. Here is what some of the numbers look like. If you were a member on the jury in the trial of Donald Trump, how would you vote on the charge that he used unlawful means in an attempt to subvert the election results? 68%. Do you want to serve on a jury? Yes. 68% say guilty. Do not want to serve on a jury. 60% still say guilty. Look at these innocence numbers. 6%, 9%. So the whole jurisdiction is rigged, right? He's never going to get a fair trial there. And a lot more methodology there from Emerson College polling. But this is what they're setting up. They're just thrilled about it. And every time they do this, it seems like Trump gets more money. He gets more support. He gets more music made about him. He gets more t-shirts printed about him. And so it's almost like, all right, keep doing it. Whatever you guys want to do. More and more people are waking up as you continue to blunder. We're here for it. We'll enjoy it. Thank you for subscribing as we carry on.